If you're a fan of road trip stories or pop punk music, and specifically Green Day, then you might be interested in checking out Nimrods. But should you? Three buddies drive cross-country in a van, causing mayhem and mischief as they race to LA for their big break, opening for Green Day on New Year's Eve. So we've got Mason Thames leading this misfit road trip as he plays Tommy, the singer for his punk band, who's tricked into believing that they have secured the opening gig for Green Day. This also stars McKenna Grace, Kyler Kaufman, Ryan Faust, Keen Ruffalo, Jenna Fisher, Angela Kinsey, Fred Armisen, Bobby Lee, and Sean Gunn. But a movie centered around Green Day, it just wouldn't feel right if it also didn't feature Billy Joe Armstrong, Mike Dirnt, and Trey Cool. So they show up as well. Now, the movie starts off extremely rough. There are zero character introductions, no world building, and very little time even spent with the characters to become invested in their dreams, let alone care about them going on this trip to open up for a band we, as the audience, already know is a hoax. The movie's about an hour 42, and it takes probably at least 35 minutes before anything starts to gel and feel like the story knows what it wants to accomplish. Even then, there are a ton of small and incomplete tangents that the story introduces that just don't add anything to the plot, other than to create excursions for the trio as they poorly attempt to drive cross-country. There's a quick and convenient battle of the bands, another battle of sorts that's also like a redneck aftershock, plus a forced and extremely fast semi-romance. And of course, there's also band and family drama mixed in with an underlying tone of melancholy due to some brotherly unrest. I'm really selling this here, aren't I? Well, those are seriously so many of the weak points of this film. Tommy has strife with his older brother, as well as dancing around some extreme sadness that his mom is feeling, but we barely get to meet them before the journey plunges us into a distraction. The Battle of the Band segments are fun, just thanks to the music, and the characters they meet during that, they're mildly entertaining. But they're also very stereotypical for what you'd expect in a roadside biker bore. Then there's the sudden romantic angle that involves McKenna Grace's character, who plays a teenager who appears to hang out in a Mad Max Dust Bowl reject area while her elementary school-aged sister graffitis on random walls. This portion makes no sense, and it comes across as contrived, all while meaning to create this additional emotion surrounding Tommy, a character we still know very little about. There's also the requisite heart-to-heart discussion between family, where the opportunity for healing and growth occurs. And this could have been an effective element, again, had the story spent the time to establish why the relationship is so damaged in the first place. And when we do get background, it's right at the end, becoming more convenient than planned. Now, probably the funniest sequence deals with Fred Armisen. While there's no point to this excursion, Armisen absolutely steals the scene. He's got a mix of vacant and creepy, and the combo he pulls off is just hilarious. Okay, I have said a lot of negatives for this, which you're probably wondering if there are actually any pros to checking this film out. Yeah, there are. Despite the rough start and the meandering but thankfully brief tangents, the camaraderie that is slowly built by the trio as they make their trek, it becomes heartwarming, hilarious, and can even be relatable if you've ever taken a road trip that's lasted more than just a couple of days. Mason Thames, Kyler Kaufman, and Ryan Faust build out an odd couple trio of this band who all seem to have differing goals, values, and motivations, but they begin to show a bond that's both touching and fun. Now, the basis of this story is rooted in Green Day's own early days of touring in some old van, barely getting from place to place, encountering all sorts of adventures and mayhem along the way, which then drew them closer together and then solidified them into the stars that they became and still are today. And so from this perspective, a lot of the brief and crazy tangents, they make sense. They could still benefit from way more background development, perhaps even using fewer of them to spend more time on the few choice ones, but we can certainly glean the inspiration for what Thames and crew experience. And because of this source context, also, the interactions, especially between the trio, it feels organic and normal, mixing the awkward inexperience of youth with the unbridled determination of people who are just not jaded by life. And the result is a combo of touching conversations and then laugh-out-loud quips. And I gotta say, for as juvenile as so much of the humor is in this, it's actually quite funny. There are some requisite dick and fart jokes, but way more of it is situational and delivered with expert timing and inflection that you just can't help but laugh. And then there's the music. I mean, not only is this filled with Green Day songs, there are also a few from other artists that make their way into the soundtrack, even featuring a brand new song from Green Day, as well as one led by McKenna Grace, and then a few from Analog Dogs, Thames' fictional band. And these are definite earworms here. They're melodic, sometimes hilarious and cheeky, fast-paced, and relatively short, just like most punk songs. So despite me rattling off a ton of issues with Nimrods, by the end, the characters and the heart of the story, it had won me over. There are too many underdeveloped arcs, rushed character introductions and development, and an ill-suited romance that is forced more than anything. But even with those, the camaraderie built between Mason Thames, Kyler Kaufman, and Ryan Faust delivers charm, genuinely funny comedy, and heart that somehow feels earned instead of being phony. And of course, the music as its own character is brilliant, making me want to revisit Green Day's Dookie and Nimrod before diving back into some of their more current releases. There's no sex nudity, a lot of profanity, not really any violence. I give Nimrods 3 out of 5 couches. Okay, so who is your favorite band or singer? I'm so curious what all the answers are going to be. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.